You are missing out. They're my absolute favorite tots. My fiance and my daughter hate them, which is great because they don't take mine. But me and the baby love them. I think, if you guys don't watch ASMR Cat Eyes, or is it Cat Eyes ASMR? Winifred, she's eaten these on a video before. She is the best. If you was gonna walk. And I was like, this is exactly what happened. I was walking behind her, and I was like, man, I feel so sick. I was like, I feel sick, like, I feel super sick, but it's like a feeling I've had before. Right then, like, as I was saying that, like, I was trying to pinpoint the kind of sick I felt. And she turns around and she's like, what? Because I just, like, stopped in my tracks. I was like, oh. I was like, we gotta go. I gotta get a test. She's like, okay, let's go. So, we go. We get a test. And I tell her, because she's home, she's like, I mean, she's my worst enemy sometimes, but she's also my BFF. But I was like, it's positive. She's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Like, total disbelief. I was like, yeah, it's positive. So she's like, let's go to let's run over to the store and get my fiance a little card so that, like, we can surprise him. So we went and picked out, like, a little card. And told him when he got home from work, and he was like, same thing. He was like, is this for real? Like, what? We're like, yeah. I mean, we're old, so, like, and we've had kids, so we weren't like, we were just, like, absorbing. We were kind of, like, numb and just absorbing the information. Like, oh boy, our life is gonna, like, really, really change. All right. So, all right, taking in this information. I'm super sick. Continue, like, I have to work. Completely nauseous. My sister's bachelorette party, which I was the maid of honor to, happened to be like a week after that. And it was like COVID was just getting on the news and stuff, and people were flying in for her bachelorette party. And I, unfortunately, like, I didn't want to tell anybody I was, yet. But I did not want to go expose myself to whatever this mystery illness was at the time. I didn't know much about it, and I was in a compromising position, and I was really early, so I messaged her, and I was like, plus, like, my oldest son has type 1 diabetes, and I just didn't want to bring anything home to him either. So I messaged her, and I was like, I just do not feel comfortable going around all these people that are flying in from different states when this new thing is hitting. And she's like, no, I get it. She was super cool about it. She's a pretty chill individual. So I missed that. So then, like, the good news was, the good and the bad was, like, we had to stop working for a while. Salons and stuff like this had to shut down for a while. So I was like, okay, cool. By the time everything opens back up, I'll be feeling much better. False. That was a lie. So that went on we were shut down for about 2 months, and my unemployment, for whatever reason, like, this happened in Iowa, and no, Illinois. I was still Illinois. My business was Illinois based. For whatever reason, Illinois and Texas used, like, I started feeling good. So when something was actually wrong, those last 2 weeks I was pregnant, I was good. Like, okay, this is the best I've ever felt this pregnancy. Like, okay, so I'm hypertensive or whatever. Like, maybe that was the cure. So I start having like premortal labor, I think it's called. Every evening around like 5. It wasn't Braxton Hicks, it was like labor-ish, but it wouldn't cross over into labor. Finally I went in for one of my little checks, and they were like, okay, your blood pressure's really high. Back to the hospital you go. Every time they're sent to the hospital, you gotta get monitored for 2 hours, and they can see the contractions on there. They're like, well, if you cross over into like real time, get back here. But they would send me home. So that time they sent me home, and they said you'll probably be back later. So I get out of the hospital, and like we were trying to move because we were in a little duplex. So we went to look at a house for rent. And I knew I was in labor. Like, I made it through looking at the house, but it was like, I knew I was crossing over, right? We went and got some Rudy's tacos, and we put on the new Milan. About 10 minutes in, I heard a little boop, and I have never had my water break on its own before. So I heard like a little snap, and then there was like, you know, wetness, and I was like, is this what? Because it wasn't like what you see on TV. It was just like a little bit, and I'm like, is that what this is? I don't know. But my contractions instantly got 10 times worse, so I was like, all right, we're going in. It was 2 weeks before my due date. So we go in. They're like, yeah, that was your water. Let's get the room ready, blah, blah, blah. Worst labor ever. Like I said, not my first rodeo. I should be a pro. I'm telling you, something was not right there, like instantly with that labor. Like, I have never felt that terrible. Is it just because there was like so much time between I don't know, but it was in my back, it was in my hips, it was in my legs, it was in my chest, like it was terrible. So I'm like, as soon as you can give me this epidural, I'm getting it. What do I need to be at? She's like, there's really no level here. I was like, okay, well, as soon as I get to 4, give me it. So like a few hours go by, I get to 4. Meanwhile, hubby's over there relaxing, you know. You just really get resentments because you're like, how do you just sit there and not have to feel this? I'm full, I don't know. I still have a whole other pack. So, they have to call, because it was late at night, they have to call the doctor to come from home to give me my epidural. Weird. He gets there. You know, you hunch over to get your epidural. He hits something, and my whole left side, my whole lower left side starts spasming. And he like, like they were like, stop moving, stop moving. And it wasn't me moving, like the needle was on something. I'm not moving on purpose, I'm not a freaking idiot. So, he has to pull it out. He's like, okay, we're on a nerve or something, we have to pull it out. I'm like, oh my god, this is so scary, this is so scary. Pulls it back out. He's like, we have to move up or down, I can't remember, and drop it down